Welcome back to Listen305. We're here with Albert Haram Alvarez and Joel Fendelman. We also have Tom Meyer, who will be our next guest. But we're going to jump right into Joel. Joel, welcome to the show.
Hi, Sonia. Hi, Albert. Hi, Tom. It's great to be here. Thanks for having me.
Nice to have you.
Thank you. Just to do, a quick little intro on Joel. Joel's actually from Miami. He was born and raised here. He went off to college up in Savannah, where he got his BFA in film and television, and he's a director. He does both directing large-scale short films and feature-length films, and he's currently putting the last editing touches for his latest film, which is called David. So I kind of want to jump right into the film a little bit, and which brings you back home, right? Your family's still here.
Yep. They're still holding their ground here.
Where does your family live, or where did you grow up?
Coconut Grove.
Coconut Grove.
We've been here, it must be 30 years.
Wow.
My father had the Grove Cinema, the Coconut Grove Cinema, which is now the post office, but he had that for 12 years, where they showed the Rocky Horror Picture Show right there on Grand and 32nd.
I stood in line before midnight to go to those shows.
I was still too young, but
great memories.
I've heard stories.
And also the Reggae Film Festival in the 1980s.
That's right, Tom.
What was that?
Reggae Film Festival.
Oh, did your family organize this?
Must have been something with my father. Yeah, he had many things going when I was still very little.
So that's obviously what brought you into the film career.
I would think on some thread, on some level, that was definitely a inspiration of some sort.
Just being around that.
Playing my Nintendo on the big screen, definitely.
Wonderful. So what's your background, Joel? Just to explain a little bit, you grew up here.
Grew up here, went to Coral Gables. I grew up I'm Jewish and had a bar mitzvah. And
at the Syrian Lebanese club?
Yeah, that too, yeah. And went to Coral Gables Senior High, and then, spent my whatever years growing up here and had a great time.
Cool. So why'd you end up going? You went off to school.
Went off to school, went to Savannah, Georgia at the Savannah College of Art and Design, and then moved to New York about 6 years ago, where I've been pursuing film, and now did a number of short films, and currently did a feature doc, and now currently finishing my first feature narrative, which you introduced.
Yes, I saw the short film. Joel had he submitted his film into the Miami Short Film Festival last week. So I was able to get a 15-minute quick snippet, which is obviously going to get me really interested to see, hopefully, the feature-length film in the springtime. Is that when we're hoping to...
Yeah, the feature, we have picture lock, as we call it, and then we're doing the score and the music, and that'll be done by the end of the year, and we're submitting to all the big festivals. And
okay, so tell us about this film. Sure. What is this film about?
Sure. David is a film that follows an 11-year-old Muslim boy called Dawood, and he's living in Brooklyn, and one day he's very religious, and he wears a jalabiya. One day he inadvertently develops a friendship with an Orthodox Jewish kid, and the Orthodox Jewish kid mistakes him for being Jewish. So it's this coming-of-age story between these two kids in Brooklyn, and it's about so many things you're dealing with here. It's about identity, I think, first and foremost. It's about two immigrant cultures coming in that are very, in somewhat, isolate themselves, but are also trying to find ways, in some ways, trying to find ways to integrate, and it's a story about kids.
Children.
Sounds like that could be a setup for a comedy, but I watched the trailer, and I don't think it necessarily is very, very powerful. Can we just mention that we have the link at listen305.com
for those who want to see films? Yeah, you can see the 2.5 minute
go ahead and take a look, and give us a call if you got a question for Joel. 305-541-2350, 305-541-2350. So how does it turn out for these boys?
Great question. Let me just, if you go to david-themovie.com, the trailer will be right there. So david-themovie.com. Great question, because I actually, when people ask what's the film about, I always say it's about the Jewish kid who mistakes him for being Jewish, and I leave it right there because everyone always hints, then they find out, and then something bad or whatever happens, and the film, that's what we want to play with. I mean, at the end, I'll spoil a little bit, but you'll see it anyway. It's a whole other thing, and he finds out that Dawood is not Jewish, and he's upset. He's definitely upset, and that's what we want to play with. Is
The emotions behind that.
he's upset. Why is he upset? He's upset because he's not Jewish, or he's upset because he lied to him. And
Now, Joel, this is based in Brooklyn, right?
it's all based in Brooklyn in a neighborhood called Borough Park and Bay Ridge. And Bay Ridge is a very Muslim Palestinian neighborhood, and Borough Park is a very Orthodox Jewish neighborhood. And it's in real life. If you go there, there'll be a few streets that cross over, and you'll have men coming from the mosque and wearing the white robes, and you'll have other men or women and wearing the black robes or black hats and crossing paths, and I mean, no problems.
No problem.
Not everyone's saying hello, da da da, but it's there's no.
Do
no
they
bombs.
shop at the same groceries?
Probably not. I would say they're still fairly isolated, even though they cross paths. So probably not. Probably not.
Even though the food's very similar, which is
Very much so.
interesting.
And there's so many similarities. We play with that in the film. The prayers before eating, the food. I mean, it's the way they pray, everything.
It sounds like you chose a setting that's perfect to kind of set up this conflict with these neighborhoods. Can you imagine doing something like this film set in Miami?
I think the film, it's about Muslims. I mean, we use the vehicle of Muslims and Jews, but it's a film about identity, and I think you could definitely put that into Miami or any place. I think.
I have to tell you that one of the first blanks I wanted to fill in on this silly Mad Lib was the Guatemalans arrived to Homestead, and the Mexicans were already there. And what happens, by the way, in Homestead is the Guatemalans always get mistaken for Mexicans.
Oh.
So eventually you just end up saying, yeah, okay, I'm Mexican.
That they accept
Right?
it almost.
Right,
They're not
just
even
kinda
fighting
go
it.
along. Maybe there's not as much of a divide as there might have been between Muslims and Jews.
You get that in the Arab community too. I mean, even between the Iranian, the Persian community, and the Arabs and their history. And even though we all look similar, or the communities look, the ethnicities look so similar, they're totally different.
You get in the Orthodox Jewish communities heavily too, especially in Brooklyn. You have the Chabad Hasidic, the Sutmar Hasidic. There's like 10 different sects, and
Yeah.
from afar they all look the same, but you get in there and they're fairly different.
What's the reaction that you've gotten so far from the film after you showed it? I think you've shown it at a few short film festivals. I think you also won.
Yeah.
At one of them.
So yeah, we've shown. Well, there's the short film which we made, and that's been going through the festivals, and they showed at the Miami Short Film Festival this past week, and then the feature, which we've shown only privately to different individuals, and we showed it to Muslims and to Jews and to a variety of different people, and it's been a very good reaction. One thing we are striving for is to have a very authentic reaction from the different communities, and I think we did get that. People gave us the stamp of approval for authenticity.
Yeah. Well, it's such an important issue today. I mean, honestly, I was just traveling recently, and it's all over the news and how they're patting people down, and it's something that people are thinking about all the time. I don't know if they can say some of these things that they're feeling, of how they judge people immediately, and those who are hesitant to express who they are, what they are, where they come from. And so there's this like tension that's taking place with all the different groups. And then sometimes it comes out, whether it can be shown through a film or through other mediums. But I feel like it's something that everybody's feeling these days. They don't want to talk about, and until something disrupts. And then there's like a moment where people are they can't take it anymore, and they shout something crazy, or they, I think last week in Homestead, I don't know if you had seen that. It was an unfortunate incident at one of the at the Quickie Marts, and a gentleman came in, and they were having a discussion with the clerk, and the next thing you know, the gentleman starts screaming out these awful things about Arabs, and then he turned around, the clerk, and killed him with the crowbar.
Oh my!
And it was like, oh my God. And then you saw, and unfortunately in the Miami Herald, anybody can comment and say whatever they want. You see all these people saying the most awful things on there, just, well, that's what Arabs are like. I mean, they're violent people. And you're just like, wow, maybe we need to have more discussion on this, because obviously it's a tense thing, and situations and incidents like that definitely shouldn't occur, but sometimes they do. And it doesn't matter who you are, what ethnicity you are, so I guess my point is just saying there's tension out there, and we have to find ways to dialogue and discuss this. And I think the film does a really good way of talking about it, both in a childlike manner, where a child feels maybe he's looked upon differently, and how he deals with it, So Well, I'm really excited to see the film. Joel, when are we going to be able to watch the full-length feature film?
Well, if people go to the website and or go to the Facebook fan page at David the Movie and just become a fan, we'll hopefully next month or so be finished and we'll start having screenings and we'll get into some festivals. So
Perhaps the Miami Film Festival?
Perhaps, yeah.
It's a big deal.
I've submitted to that, so.
Okay.
Congratulations. You got a question for us? Comment 305-541-2350. 305-541-2350. When we come back from a break, we'll be joined by another guest. Thomas Myers will be joining us for our conversation. Please stay with us at Listen 305.